Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
Station, this is Richard, Jack, and Glenn. Do you hear us?
Hello, Richard, Jack, and Glenn. This is Tom and Raja. We hear you loud and clear.
That's so cool. This is wild.
Oh my God, zero grav. I bet that feels good on the lower lumbar. If you have any back aches, the zero grav is probably great for that.
We have some questions for you. We're just wondering, when did you know you wanted to be an astronaut? Did you have an early fascination with space? Our movie's about a kid who has a fascination and kind of dreams about it.
It was about 1969, the year of the moon landing, when I first became super fascinated with space. I didn't really see my place in it yet. It was only later, after I was in graduate school, that I began to think, maybe I could be an astronaut as well. So, yeah, I'm very much a child of the 60s and the space age back then.
Did either of you have any connections to NASA growing up that influenced your decisions to pursue this career?
So for me, not any family connections or I guess really close connections or friends or anything like that. But I did have two, jobs or internships with NASA. But in both those cases, I think that definitely got me interested in NASA, or more interested in NASA. I was already in aerospace and interested in that field, but that definitely made me realize that NASA was a pretty great organization from a people standpoint, and something I definitely wanted to be a part of.
Can I just say the microphone, no touch, is something Jack is so jealous of. He wants to steal this for Tenacious D. This is, it's a very cool look. It's a very cool look. This microphone work is top notch. Can you tell us a little bit about the astronaut selection process? I think it's probably a little different than kickball field, like what we do in the movie.
Yeah, it's actually, if you want to work for the post office or any civil servant job or be an astronaut, it starts with the same application. If they like you so far, then they bring you down in groups of 20. And you know that you're in a group of about 120, 150 at that point, and they do the medical exams on you. And you can imagine what that's like. They look at everything.
My mom worked on the Apollo 13 abort guidance system. She helped program it. And my family connection to that didn't help me become an astronaut at all. So I can attest that you guys are legit and earned your place, because otherwise I would have been where you are right now.
No nepotism.
No nepotism at NASA.
Your mom was smart. GNC is one of the hardest disciplines, guidance, navigation, and control. Wow, that's something.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to me, but yeah, she sure had it.
So how long is the training process? How long does it take to prepare for a mission?
The first part we call ASCAN, or astronaut candidate training, and that's about 18 to 24 months. And that is vehicle agnostic, meaning it's very focused on the space station and spacewalks, T-38 training, robotics, learning Russian, and then you're assigned to a mission. And then once you're assigned to that mission, it's about another 18 months. And then during that flow, it's more specific to what you'll be doing on board.
So when you find out that you're going to go on a mission and that you're going to officially be an astronaut, do you throw a party and say, I'm going to be an astronaut, or do you have to keep it secret, confidential, like we do in the film?
Yeah, you're supposed to not say, they say don't tell anybody. I think most astronauts tell their spouse and their family pretty quickly. In my case, I just walked into the room. My wife had heard that some phone calls were going out. She just took one look at my face. I didn't have to say anything. And she just said to me, no way.
Looks like you guys have a lot of circuitry up in there. It's like a tangle of fusilli, all of those wires and stuff. Did you guys have to Whoa.
Another Tenacious D move. You got to steal, Jack.
Yeah, it takes a while to get used to all this stuff. There's wires, cables everywhere, but these I don't know if you can see, these blue handrails where my feet are, you get used to just hooking into your feet to those. And so you can work on the walls or the ceilings, and you get pretty adept at changing your orientation for whatever the workspace is. So we utilize the walls and the ceilings for everything, just like we would on the walls back on Earth. So you get used to just changing your body to match. Normally when we do interviews, I did that just because you seem to be interested in the mic. Normally we do interviews standing up on what looks like the floor to you because it gets people sick if we're spinning around. But normally it's very usual for me to come in and Tom's in whatever orientation he needs to be in for whatever he's working on.
Yeah, I like that pose. I think you stay in that pose. That's cool. That makes me feel comfortable.
The floating Buddha.
The floating Buddha.
So, Thomas, were you saying you remembered when they first walked on the moon, back in '69? And did you have a favorite astronaut, or what did you think about those guys as a kid back then?
Oh, I didn't have a favorite. I was completely fascinated with it. I was in my jammies with the family, sitting on the living room floor, watching on the TV.
Armstrong is on the move.
Watching Neil Armstrong put his foot down. I couldn't wait to hear what he said and the way he described it. In my 8-year-old mind, I was thinking, boy, are there going to be creatures out there? Is going to be a new civilization? I had no idea what they were going to find. And it changed me, but I think it changed humankind, the way we look at the universe in a lot of ways as well. So, no, I didn't have any specific hero. It was just everyone that worked on that just seemed to have the most incredible job. I think they all sounded like super people to me, everybody that worked on it.
That's fascinating to me. You and I was 8 years old also, and I've made this film kind of trying to capture the kids' perspective of what it felt like to be watching it there in your jammies. That was kind of the point of view of the film. So crazy.
Yeah, it really is. What is sort of the a common misconception about what you guys are doing up there and being an astronaut in general?
So I think a lot of people think it's just constant excitement and craziness, but really it is amazing work. So don't get me wrong. I love the fact that every day is a different day and we do different things every day. But it's much more. I mean, we're essentially living and working here. So a lot of what we do is just living. Like eating food, like fixing things. Just like you would if you were living in a house, having to fix the things in your house. And then we do the science, which is the highlight of it. But a lot of it is just the logistics and the upkeep and the day-to-day activities of living in space. A lot of times we call it 99% boredom with 1% sheer terror mixed in is sort of like the normal.
And how long will you be up there in total on this mission?
Usually about 4 to 6 months is the typical length.
Wow.
So when a day when nothing is going wrong on an ideal day, what are you doing to pass the time?
Actually, it's a beehive of activity. We spend the morning getting ready for the workday, then we execute it. Every 5 minutes is planned out. Mission Control's got us working all in the laboratory. We have to work out 2.5 hours a day so our bones and our muscles don't waste away. And so he's showing you the schedule there. That's a typical. There's the red line. We're following that red line all day, trying to stay ahead of it. So we do have just a few minutes each day to look out the window.
Looking out the window is like the main attraction. It's the most beautiful view in the world, or I imagine, right? You got a good view?
Yeah, we have an amazing view, and the sun goes up and goes down 16 times a day for us, or in a 24-hour period. So you're always getting to see a sunset or a sunrise, and then even if it's dark, then you're seeing city lights. If it's light, then obviously you're seeing the Earth. And even if you're seeing ocean, which is the vast majority of the Earth, it's still just amazing. The clouds and it's a incredible the view. And every time you go to and from the bathroom, you go by where the window's at, so you get an opportunity to take a quick break and just remember you're in space, because like Tom said, we're pretty busy from basically 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. It is all planned out down to when you're eating. So bathroom breaks are actually a highlight for me. That's when you could go and stop and take a look at the window for a while.
Are you guys fans of science fiction at all? I imagine that you would be.
Something else that happened in 1969 was 2001: A Space Odyssey came out. And the moon landing and that movie were the big formative things for my career.
Do you guys get visits from Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk at all? Do they pop in just to say, hey, just want to come by the station?
Not yet, but they are. We have, the end of March, early April, they're launching the first private mission. So that's kind of a new era, as NASA looks to put our focus on exploration and back to the moon to stay in Mars, and letting commercial industry take over low Earth orbit. That's kind of the long-term plan.
As Artemis gets going and moon and Mars, are you hoping to visit the moon or Mars in the coming years personally?
That's not in the books for me, but I am looking forward to seeing potentially Raja or some of my colleagues that I know now, or every school that we talk to, we say, you might be the ones that are walking on the moon or being flight directors and flight controllers for the first mission to Mars.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
So great
Thank
talking
you,
to you guys.
guys.
Thank you to all participants from Apollo 10 and a half.
That was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I wasn't really ready for
What? No, I was like,
You never forget for a second what badasses astronaut, like how smart they are, what engineer brains and perfect specimens. It's almost like pro athletes. You think, oh, I want to grow up and be a pro football player. It's like, no, you know, it's such a rare breed that can be all those things.
You got to be the best of the best.
I mean, it really is impressive. I wanted to ask him about the workouts. I mean, you know, what he benches in space.
Zero grav workouts.
Zero gravity.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Netflix Film Club channel to get our latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.